What's up, everyone? Welcome back to the Coast to Coast Traders podcast. I'm Flexing Joe.
And I'm Robbie.
What's up, Robbie? How you doing?
I'm good, man. It's been a great weekend. It's actually pretty sunny right now, but we got some rain on the horizon. Spring is poking its head out, but like it's been a
Oh,
little bit polarizing with the 80-degree weather, then back down to 60s, and then a little bit of showers here and there. So it looks
oh,
like you got some snow in your background, right?
yeah. I was just like, so right out of the gate, he's gonna rub it in. Right out of the gate. Oh, polarizing 80-degree weather. Right out of the gate.
Yeah. Yes,
Great.
sir.
Yeah, dude. We got snow. We got snow yesterday, and we got like a little bit today. But I think tomorrow it's supposed to rain and be like 50, so it should all be gone. So it's not too bad.
All right, cool.
Yeah.
Cool.
Yeah.
Yeah, so crazy week per usual.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
But certainly some good moves to have been traded
Yeah.
in either direction, wouldn't you say?
Yeah, for sure, for sure. Mostly to the downside, right? I think we had like Wednesday was a big down day, Thursday was Doji daily candle, and then Friday was another big down day, and
Yeah.
Friday and Wednesday too. But those were just like not the days to be trying to buy dips. And I think that, like I was talking about in that review session I did on Friday morning, or no, it was like Friday around noontime, anyways. But Up the Voice reviewed like the current price action for the day on Friday. I didn't take any
Hmm.
futures trades Friday, but I was just reading it over and talking about it and what I saw. And it's just like in this market and with everything that's going on, like it's not the bottom till it's the bottom. So don't try to time it. Just let it be. And when you get some reversal confirmation, then go for it. But until then, stop. And I've seen a lot of
Yeah.
people were having trouble.
Yeah, absolutely. And myself included, it's been like a recurring theme recently for myself. I posted on X that I was struggling a little bit, and just kind of when you are
Yep.
in like a losing streak and stuff, and it's been a little while. Like I posted something like, "Yeah, I'm not a loser, baby, but I haven't won in a while."
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
And that's kind of where my head was, just because um, I wasn't really taking my A plus setups, and as I posted there, when you're on a losing streak, it really weighs heavy on you. But typically, this means I'm backsliding on my system and setups, either not taking good setups and chasing, or failing to take consistent profit. So yeah, so it's just funny because I posted that on Thursday, then had a
Mm-hmm.
really uh, banger day on Thursday, or no, that was Wednesday, and then the banger day was Thursday.
Yeah.
But then back to my old habits on Friday.
Yeah. 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 That's funny too. So like speaking of like back to your old habits, right? If you had an
Hmm.
alter ego, right? Like if you weren't Robbie Robski,
Yeah,
who would you be?
it's the reversal chaser Robbie,
Yeah.
Robbie the retard. But yeah, lately it's the chase Robbie the chaser.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah,
I would be the tilter. I would just
the
definitely
tilter.
be the Hulk smash tilter. That was just who I
Hulk
would
smash
be.
tilter.
Yeah. Yeah. I've actually never broken a keyboard or a mouse. I know some people break their mice a lot, like mice a lot. I don't know.
Yeah.
I've never done that. Um, I've definitely smacked my desk a few times.
Hmm.
I've definitely yelled some obscene words a few times that I'm sure my neighbors probably heard. My old lady neighbor across the street probably heard,
Yeah.
or maybe she didn't because she's old, so that's a plus. But yeah, yeah, I could be the tilter. That's my alter ego, is Flexing Joe the tilter.
Yeah, I'll
Not good.
say I do a decent job about not getting too emotional, like verbally
Mm-hmm.
or physically.
Mm-hmm.
But I pounded a keyboard a couple of times, and I gotta say this keyboard is pretty darn sturdy, because the worst thing that happened is a couple of caps just popped off. But it's still working just great. I've never been the person to chuck my mouse across the room or the game controller, but um actually I don't remember the day it was, but there was a day recently
Mm-hmm.
where I think I swore out loud, and it'd been a really, really long time since I've done that. But of course, it was because I'm being silly and
Mm.
not honoring the rules or the system or whatever. But that's maybe like the most emotional I've been about a trade in a very, very, very long time.
Yeah. Um. Yeah, I can relate to. I for one will definitely attest to the fact that like I've gotten better too, like much better.
Hmm.
Um, like the craziest thing I've actually broken is a rake. I'm not sure we're ready. I don't know. I feel like I gotta tell the story now, and
Hmm.
my wife will probably be in the other room laughing. Okay, so like here's the story real quick.
Okay.
I was like super pissed off about an options trade, right?
Hmm.
Like I took this options trade. I was up on it. It like just missed my profit target and it went red and I stopped out. And I was like, I
Hmm.
mean, I'm talking like I like remember going back in and like zooming in on the chart and like expanding the candle and being like,
Looking how many pixels it was away.
I was like, oh my God. Like it literally went to my take profit price, but did not take any
Hmm.
profits. And I don't
Ah,
know. And I think it was just like a subsequent string of losers that just kind of really got to me, right? So
yeah.
anyways, like pretty much like right outside this window right here, like along the road, I had a whole bunch of like pine trees that ultimately the town had cut down because they were like growing into the road and they were like, how much do you like your trees? And I was like, I don't really care. And they were like, you mind if we take them down? Like when we plow it, they kind of they lean into the road, and if they get much taller, they're gonna hit the power lines and blah blah blah. And I was just like, I don't really care. They
Cool.
weren't. I didn't put them in. They're like, yeah, we'll take them out for
Yeah.
free, and then we'll come back and we'll grind up the stumps or whatever, and you're good. So, anyways, I had a
Oh,
whole
nice.
like shit ton of debris right there, like along the road, and I had just been meaning to go out and like rake it up, and like it was like dirt and like sticks and little branches all just kind of mixed in, and I wanted to like clean it up. That way, the grass, put some grass seed down and make my lawn look better.
Yeah.
I'm not like
Hmm.
one of those big long guys, but anyways, I was out there, dude, and I was like, like just like every like I mean, I'm like been out there 30 seconds. I'm already like working up a sweat, and I'm just like this fucking thing, right? And then so
Yeah.
my wife and my daughter are peeking at me like out like this window here, like curtains shut, and they're just kind of like looking at
Oh
me,
man.
laughing hysterically, and of course, like as I'm raking. It's just a whatever plastic flimsy rake, and the freaking rake like snaps away from like the handle, and I'm just like,
Yeah.
threw it down.
Oh man, it's too bad they weren't recording, or were they?
Oh no, they weren't. They weren't. I haven't had. I think about it and I can laugh because I'm just like, oh, like I just got so worked out about like essentially what is nothing, But
Hmm.
it was pretty funny. It was pretty funny. That's the funniest one.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. So you hit
That's
some good
hilarious.
you can hit some good trades though on Thursday. So let's check those out. I got them marked out here on the chart for everybody. So talk us through your trade Thursday. And if you want to start on the 1, you want me to go to the 10 first? What do you feel like?
Let's look at the 5 so I can describe the setup.
Yeah, sure.
All right.
So
So,
5-minute chart.
hmm so we're pushing up high, like we're well outside of the orbs and everything naturally per our typical system. 10 minute
Mm-hmm.
CBC above VWAP, everything.
Mm-hmm.
We're in a very bullish scenario. But as we printed that 5 minute like spinning top or gravestone doji, whatever you guys want to call it, I'm thinking to myself, okay, so what are we approaching at this level that might potentially cause us to have any kind of pivot or reversal?
Okay.
And so from there, I'm looking left and I see that basically this was around roughly the second pullback from the previous day.
Mm-hmm.
And so I'm like, okay, well that makes sense then. And we don't have a 10-minute CBC, but we do have a 5 minute.
Mm-hmm.
And then looking at the 10 minute, the next candle is pushing up. It's maybe a 61.8 rejection out. I wasn't really looking at it specifically in that regard, but like I did see, yeah, it's not it doesn't have enough strength to push higher. And incidentally, that's also the 10-minute 200 EMA.
Mm-hmm.
And
Yeah.
then what really sealed the deal for me was the 5 minute really weak candle at 11:15.
Boom, right here.
Yeah.
Yep. Yeah, it
And
is very
so
weak.
I had also drawn some zones there too, like that 5 minute candle, and like just that little the area where we were like showing some potential resistance there. That was like the pre-market zone that I had drawn um, from like going back to midnight the prior night, really. And so like I'm just looking at the price action there, and I took a short.
Yep.
And actually, first I should say, I was up on the day already,
Mm-hmm.
but I took a short, and then it nearly hit profit target, and so like I closed at break even,
Yep.
and so like I'm like, well, gosh, this is still weak, so like I want to take it short, and then I take it short again at
Mm-hmm.
where you see you've marked it on your screen there. It was like 156, I think,
Yep. Right here in between the two
and
EMAs on the 1
yeah,
minute.
and I was executing on the 1 minute, right? And you know, it stopped, and I'm thinking to myself, I'm still green on the day. I really might just lock out the account and call it a day.
And it's tough too because you stopped by a point.
Yeah, I
You
stopped by a point, and I just felt that pre-market zone was so weak, and like maybe it was a little bit too foolish for me to expect that the EMAs would be um, reliable just yet.
mm-hmm.
So that could have been it too. But like just looking at the 5 minute, like I'm like, if I don't take this, I'm gonna kick myself. Like, yeah, sure, I locked out green, but like the other thought that I had in my head was like, well, if I do take this and I stop out, then maybe I'm red to green or green to red, or just break even slightly.
Yeah, and by the time you stopped out, when you
Mhm.
took that entry, you stopped
Mhm.
out right at the candle. So that's when this candle printed. So like you entered like right as this candle printed. So you had back to back hammer candles here off the
Yeah.
EMA, kind of showing like more weakness here. Like because again, the buyers had let the bears push against them, push them even further down, but then they couldn't close any higher. They actually closed lower. So you know, bearish candle, can't flip back on the 5 minute CBC, can't flip it back, looking weaker.
Mhm.
You get in, they wake up, they stop you out. It's, oh man, that sucks. Honestly, that 10-point loss sucks.
Yeah. So like at that point, I'm like, if I don't take this trade, I'm probably gonna hate it.
Mm,
And if I wash on the day, and I didn't size up or anything, it was one con, and so I'm just like, you know what, I just got to accept the risk at this point. Yeah, if I end up being break even on the day, so be it. But this, I mean, I've seen this kind of setup so many times, and it looked so weak to me. So yeah, I slapped the short again, and incidentally, it was basically the same entry that I had the last time around. And lo and behold, I kind of got a little bit lucky because it spilled off quite nicely right afterward.
yep, it did.
And
Real quick.
yeah, so like I did feel in some way that if that zone that I had drawn gave up, that we would make a pretty solid move.
Mm,
And in some respects, my profit target was a little bit arbitrary, but you can see, like just looking left, that I had like a small pivot to the left that I was wondering, like, well, maybe that's where we might bounce if this isn't like a full, um, you know, Mariana's Trench reversal. You know what I mean?
right,
So
right,
yeah,
yeah.
I just took, I had a profit target out there, and it filled, and like it felt pretty darn good, and it was great way to close out the day. Much better than if I had not taken the trade, because then I would have been like, shoulda, coulda, woulda, and shoulda, coulda, woulda doesn't help me in the future
Mm,
if I haven't built up the confidence to take those trades that I should have taken.
right.
Because next time it's be like, oh yeah, remember when I did this? Cool, it happened, and and it worked out in this way. So chalk one up to the strategy, right?
Mm-hmm.
And then when I see it again in the future, maybe I'll be a little more um, precise with my entry, or just chill it a little while, and then um, just make sure that I take it again, because we're looking for repeatable trades, and for me, this was a repeatable trade.
Nice, man. That's good. I mean,
Yeah,
you're already up on the day, you lose 10, you get back about what, like 45. So you netted 35 points.
yeah,
That's on the two trades combined. That's pretty serious, man. That's awesome. That's awesome.
yeah. And it was also nice just because I had posted on X, I was kind of feeling down, And so obviously that's a great way to boost your confidence, is to make a little bit of green and some good,
Mm.
consistent, repeatable trades, right?
Yeah, exactly. That's just it, right? You didn't make it on nothing, just an arbitrarily clicking buttons. You made it on something that you've taken before that you'll take again.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, that's where it's at. That's where it's
But
at.
with that said, that execution, the quality of the execution didn't last much longer, because the next day,
Oh yeah, yeah, yeah. Let's go.
which was Friday, gosh,
The
Robbie,
the no trades
you
for
know
Joe Friday.
what am I gonna do with you? I was very bearish in the pre-market, but then we had this weird. Can you just scroll up a little bit, Joe, into the pre-market?
Oh yes, sorry. Yeah, you.
Yeah. Okay. So like, we had this interesting little bull rally there, bouncing off of like a pre-market zone, whatever.
Mm-hmm.
And the main reason for that was just that the EU had reported that they were going to respond to Trump tariffs.
Yeah, this was
And
like the London orb low, because I'm pretty sure the London Open was right here, and then
mhm,
so this was a London Open. There was like a London orb low, like just wick out where they kind of faked you out, went under, and they made this big
yeah,
push. So it was like a retest down here, and that took off.
yeah, exactly. So like, I'm still kind of working on when I can start taking trades in the pre-market, because it's been my rule for a while that I really don't take trades in the pre-market. But I think it's getting to a point where like I'm seeing good setups, and I just like on Wednesday or Thursday, sorry. If I see the setup, I just need to take it and accept the risk.
Mm-hmm.
Um, so yeah. Anyway, like we didn't. Even though that rally looked pretty darn strong, we didn't close over that pre-market pivot. You could see there, and you have that little line in between that little box zone that I had drawn, and it's wicking off almost perfectly to the middle of that,
Yep.
and just kind of rounding. And on a smaller time frame, you can just see that there wasn't really that much strength there. And it was one of those situations where like, I could probably take this, but it's still pre-market, so I didn't.
Mm-hmm.
So all that just to say really that I didn't have a great setup, I felt, once the bell actually opened.
Gotcha.
And so I was like, I was still mostly bearish, but like you can see it was kind of choppy a little bit, and
Yep.
it was maybe even looking like they might push up. So like I just was on the fence, and I knew we had the consumer sentiment at like 10 a.m. And so I was thinking to myself, well, usually I'm walking away from the desk about 10 o'clock anyway, because I'm getting ready for work. And so, you know what, maybe I'll just wait to take a trade when I get to the office. So I didn't take any trades. And then, you know, unfortunately, I get in the car and boom.
Dude,
It's like
bro, you think
it sold off big.
you think this was hard, dude? I mean, like I can understand the hesitation and whatever, bro. I was like in pre-market and
Hmm.
literally saw this. I saw this candle wick and I was like, oh, it's a short. Like I was like,
Yeah.
it's a short, it's a short, it's a short, bro. I'm 15 minutes in. I'm 15 minutes
Hmm.
deep in this 3-hour meeting. And I was just like, it's a short.
Ah,
And I'm like, God, I just want to open. I got my laptop in my backpack. I just want to open it up. I just want to I just want to take it. I just want to take it. Let me just enter in. I'll go light with the micros. Like, let me just do it. Nope.
yeah.
Sitting front and center in the meeting. I can't do a damn thing, dude.
Yeah, that's sad. I mean, we both had the same idea looking at that wick there.
Mm-hmm.
But where it gets bad was like, by the time I got to the office, I'm almost thinking to myself, and I messaged you on Discord saying, you know what, I might not even trade today.
Mm.
And that didn't last too long, because I took a couple of trades and I chased. And it was, chasing is obviously never good, but like, I saw a strong push up, and it just felt like one of those situations where I could take the long. But we've talked about time and time again, big move one way or the other. The first, you know, signal of strength potentially, when we're still so far outside of the orbs and under and out, or beyond view op or whatever, in this case we're below.
Yep.
That's the profit taking.
For sure, dude. Yep. And
So
that's
I
you got
took a
caught on.
long. Yeah, I took a long, and it was like 1 point for profit target. So I raised to break even, and it came back. But then, like, cuckoo head here, say, hey, let's hit it long again. what could go wrong? And so I took the long, but like it has stopped me out. So
Quickly.
that like yeah, pretty quickly. And so that just reinforced, Robbie, you're being a dummy, Of course this is not a long setup. This is short. Like bigger time frame EMAs, like everything's still pointing down, like this is just the profit taking. And so I did talk some sense into myself that were still bearish.
Mm-hmm.
And then I went to take a short, but I'm chasing the entry, dude. I had zero patience. So it's like, okay, wheels are spinning, my two brain cells are firing, they're talking to one another.
Mm-hmm.
But if I had just the extra brain cell, if I had just a third brain
If you just had
cell,
a third.
just to have one more, and then that the one that said, "Hey, Robbie, don't be a dummy and chase, wait for a pullback or something,"
Mm-hmm.
then I could have got a decent move short, but I didn't, and maybe it was just like me getting punished for having the sentiment of like, what, maybe I shouldn't trade for the day because I already missed like the better move.
Yep.
And so now I guess, I'm probably just experiencing some FOMO here
Mm-hmm.
because the setup was for the long was not, I mean, it was a C tier setup and it was fighting the trend,
Oh, dude,
for
I
all intents and
I
purposes.
think C is generous, bro.
Generous. Yeah.
I feel like C is generous because like let's put this on maybe like on an hourly chart, right? So you were trying
Hmm.
to go long like in this area. We'd already
Yeah.
broken under the prior Friday. So this is OPEX Friday's low. We'd already broken under that. And then here, so like what were we like what's really to use is like why would this area hold? And I would say that because like trying to go long here, right? You have this area where it
Well,
bounces, it pushes off, and then you have the
yeah.
retest here. You have a second test here. So
Hmm.
horizontal level, right? Third time usually fails.
Yeah. Well, the reason I kind of call it C tier is because I had some levels drawn from the 12th and the 13th that were at like a CPI print
Huh?
and a prior dump candle. So the theory was like potentially this could be the support because even
Oh,
though
I know
I
what you're talking
chased
about.
the entry,
I know what you're talking
you
about.
know what I'm talking about?
Yeah, I think I do.
Okay.
Hold on, let me try to find it. Hold on, I'm gonna clean up these charts for you guys though. I'm gonna hide the clouds.
So potentially like this is looking kind of decent for like that thesis of a potential reversal, but like um we don't have a like yes, okay, there was a 10-minute CBC flip, but again, the CBC flip into EMAs usually a fake out, and again, saying it time and time again, the first big move, the first big pivot after a massive directional move is just the profit taking. So like, it just wasn't strong enough of a move to consider this a true support of that old level. And plus, it was a couple of
Mm-hmm.
weeks old anyway.
Yep.
It'd been
Yep.
traded through, so like I should have probably just removed that from my chart because yeah, like you can kind of cherry pick that. Um, I had a price level that was respected. Actually, at the 1205 candle, it perfectly respected that, and then some, and then continued to sell further. But like, uh, you know, long story short, I'm fighting the trend. I was stupid, and I should know better.
Yep.
Yeah. So
Been there, done that.
it's just
I
we
got
gotta
a I
just
got a whole
keep
wardrobe.
reinforcing those. We gotta keep reinforcing. The the reasons why what we do are wrong, so that way we can learn from them, and not only learn from them, but to not repeat those mistakes. Because um,
Facts.
if I just remind myself, Robbie, profit taking, we're still short, then I could have saved myself, did a red day, and just join the trend, which would have felt a lot better. Because if I had just taken a short entry,
Mm-hmm.
then there were plenty more ladder opportunities later in the day for the bullish or bearish continuation.
Yeah. Yeah.
So yeah, don't fight the trend, guys. Like,
15
and
to 30 minutes of patience too.
I'm not a permable by any means. I know some people that are, but
Yeah.
I truly feel like in my heart of hearts that and you've seen it, that I can trade both directions, but just some days That little rascal inside of me fights the trend or chases.
Do you know somebody who somebody who's a perma bull?
I do,
Yeah, I
but
know.
I'm not gonna call him out. I've called him out in person, but I won't call him out. Banana. This guy.
Hey man, hey. He ran 30K down to 500. And he's gonna run it back. He's gonna do it again. Fresh 30K deposited. Crazy,
Yeah,
bro.
yeah. It seems like he only posts bullish paper trades.
Dude.
Well,
Yeah, hell yeah, for real.
We assume paper trades.
Yeah,
Because it seems like the kinds of positions that he's calling out are really insane. Like it was zero, like 1,000 zero DTE Amazon calls on Friday.
yeah. He put $80,000 on 0DT Amazon calls, dude, and like that, like I think roughly around the time it was like somewhere like in this area. Like if he got lucky, it popped a hair, and then it was like it was done, dude.
You know what? He was looking at my CPI level.
That's what it must have been, dude. That's what it must have been.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
everybody, man, there's all these internet personalities, right? All these internet personalities, and we got another one we're going to talk about. But before we do, I actually had some good fortune that I want to tell you about, and I don't think,
cool.
and I think that you're going to hear this for the first time because I don't think I truly elaborate on what happened. All right, so backstory is a couple days ago I get this like flyer, maybe like a week ago, we get this flyer on the door, like neon green. Hey, power company's going to be installing some new poles in your area. They might be on your lawn, whatever. And I'm like, oh, whatever. If this means I lose my power less, then great. So Thursday morning, I hear like the beep, beep, beep of like the, a heavy equipment truck backing up. And I'm like, all right, if you jabronis jack up my power today, I'm going to be pissed because today is going to be a good trading day. I can feel it.
Yeah.
So needless to say, the day was fine. I wasn't really doing a whole hell of a lot. I actually don't think I did much. So I was looking at the same sort of area that you had here. You had this 317 high a day. So I think when we go, I think I have it on a daily chart. Yeah, right here. So like here's a daily chart. You had this wick here. You had just relative like this area.
Yeah.
And I just recognized like this gap area, this old gap area which got filled. Just like the whole thing, but we had already come back down. So like seeing this and a lot of the same patterns appear on different time frames. Like seeing this super bearish day, I was expecting that we were going to like retrace back up into there, and I wasn't. I was actually thinking a little higher, to be honest. But I just started to see, hey, we're going to go into this general area. I would say probably like I was expecting anything from like here to like this level, right? Like as a general area, like, hey, we'll see what happens, right? So anyways, when I start to see some weakness on here, the 5-minute chart, and the same thing on the 10-minute chart, right? So here's the 5-minute chart right here around 10:45, and then here's the 10-minute chart, right? So I saw this and I was like, okay. So I ended up taking a short, like saw the double rejection off that level, saw the 10-minute 200 was just above. And I can't remember off the top of my head what VIX and ES were doing, but I was just like, okay, like I'm gonna play this downside move. But take this short. Bro, I'm in the short. Price is like a hair away from my first take profit. And everything stops. The audio stops. I'm listening to the stream, Maple stream, the audio stops, the charts stop, everything stops. I'm like, bro.
Did your heart stop too?
Oh yeah, dude. So I hit the defib machine. I come back to life and I'm like, all right, what's really going on here? The internet went out. So like they jacked up the internet, the Spectrum internet, they didn't jack up the power. So I'm like frantically trying to close out this position on my phone. Somehow, right? And this wasn't a copy trade. This was just solely on my cash account. So somehow something got jacked up. And I actually don't know what happened, but price comes down and somehow I end up being long, dude. I end up being long like very low on this like particular 10-minute candle, like very low here, like 34-ish. I'm long. And I'm like, what's with this trade right now? Because like my P&L is moving up. Like, I couldn't figure it out.
You're thinking you're in the gulag right now.
Yeah, dude. So I'm just like, damn, price must really be falling, right? Because I see my P&L in the top part of the screen, like moving up and up, right? And I'm struggling, dude, because I don't hardly ever use the Ninja Trader. Like, to be honest, I'll take Rhythmic Mobile back, dude. Like, I
Yeah.
struggle with this thing, dude, right? So anyways, so I had taken 5 micros on this short. And so suddenly,
Okay.
and so now I should have hit take profits, right? So, well, somehow I end up with 5 micros long. So like this thing's ripping up. I'm like, oh shit. So then like, I don't know, like I just like market sell, and I'm like, okay, I got 3 left. So I got 3 out. I take another one, like we push up over here. I don't know. I'm just like, oh, this looks good. Market sell. I see it coming back down, and I'm like, now at this point, I got my phone working. I'm looking at TOS. I'm looking at what's going on. I'm like, yo, you know what? Like this is all pure luck. I'm just getting out, dude. So I got out.
Yeah.
I think I ended up making like, I don't remember whatever it was on the down and the up move. I feel like I netted like 600 or something total on it. So it worked out pretty good. But bro, like,
Oh man,
I
that's
was
the worst.
Yeah. So, anyways, I was just done after that. I was done.
Right on.
I got lucky. I got lucky. You know, I got lucky, and that's okay because I've definitely been, and I'm sure people can relate. I got unlucky plenty of times. You know, like
Yeah, for sure.
And you did too, right? Like you shortly after that on your short, you got unluckily stopped by 1 point. You know, and it's a great thing that you took it again. So, yeah.
Yeah, for sure.
But my
it's nice to get lucky sometimes.
Oh, for sure. Yeah. But my unlucky stupid moves of the week is like on my X account, I posted about the AVGO chart. You know, that was, I can just like quickly pull that up. It's going to have a ton of drawings on it, guys. But if we just go to the daily chart, where are we? Yeah. Like, so I posted about it a couple days beforehand. I was talking about like in this general area, I believe that we had room potentially to come down here. My final target was like 171, which we hit on Thursday. We ended up going lower on Friday. So you can see how that panned out. And then I was also Friday morning. It was early. I was scouting out the meta chart. I saw just like this daily look, the way it pulled back, similar to NQ, and I was just like, man, this just looks super bearish. Like, this isn't gonna be good.
Yep.
I was like, oh, it's gonna go short. You know, maybe in a few days or whatever, we're gonna hit the 10-minute, the daily 200 EMA. Bro, we hit it the same damn day.
We're doing it today.
Yep, I know. I came back and I was like, well, target hit. Zero points for Joe on that one. So
yeah. Yeah, that's nice though. If only, but
if only.
the thing is with the if only is like, I've been thinking about that recently. You know, the shoulda, coulda, wouldas, and the if only. It's really it's a wasted emotion.
Oh, 100%.
Because daydreaming about the what if, rather than just putting in the work to like, what if I take it next time, rather than what if I had taken it. You know.
Yep. Yeah.
Or what if I took extra size? What if I took the extra size, Robbie?
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Bro, for real.
Yeah.
I know, dude. I know. It's easy to like. It's like okay. Well, what if you just won the lottery? Like you're just going down the same road. You know?
Yeah. Spinning your wheels for no reason, for nothing that benefits you in any way.
Exactly, dude.
Other than just wasting your time and your emotions. Is that a Capri Sun, bro?
Bro, it's a Capri Sun, dude. It's
what flavor?
Pacific Cooler, dude.
Oh, okay.
Shout out to being a kid.
I haven't had a Capri Sun probably since I was like in junior high, maybe.
It's all gone now, dude. Yeah, nice. Actually, so you know why? I've had those in the fridge, right, for a few weeks, and my I don't know, my younger daughter just trying to stop drinking them. I was like, I'm gonna drink them. They're good. We got the cases, dude. We got like so many boxes of them.
Oh, okay.
We got like 50 of them in the closet. So I thought it'd be funny.
Nice. Yeah, so, I would never let them go to waste.
Hell no. So, bro, what are your thoughts on Patrick Wieland, PW?
You know, I was a little bit of a hater, but I came to the realization a couple days ago that like, why am I hating this guy, dude? Like, the reason really was just because like I'm bandwagoning with the other people that are hating him on social media, and like they're hating him basically for his success, like, and that's like, oh hey, he made more in affiliate codes and YouTube than he did on trading.
Dude, I don't even know what he made on YouTube. I think his affiliate code was like 4 million last year or some shit. Wasn't
Yeah,
it?
well, maybe it was just the affiliate code, but like he's got a pretty solid YouTube channel as
Oh, yeah,
well.
very solid. Yeah.
So it's like, and like, okay, yeah, he made millions on affiliate codes, but the dude still pulled in 800K on through his own trading.
On prop payouts.
Yeah, so it's like, what am I like? Why am I hating like for no reason? Like, and I pulled up a video. It came up on my feed probably because I'd seen some people talking about him,
Mm.
and the guy is just talking about good TA and good trading practices, raising stop losses, taking
Mm-hmm.
profit. How to avoid the live trailing drawdown,
Yep.
and like this guy isn't selling snake oil by any means. So like, if you're just hating on somebody just for the fact that they're getting money on affiliate codes,
Yep.
eh, you know what? Who cares? Like,
Yeah.
like, and so yeah, so like, I just came to that realization, like, dude, there's no real reason for me to be hating on this guy, and like, maybe hate's a strong word, but like, I know when people were recently talking about him, like, and he'd popped up on YouTube, or maybe it was X for that specific reason.
Mm-hmm.
He was promoting I think it was Apex, and
Yeah.
he had an affiliate code, or
Yep.
maybe it was Take Profit Trader. I forget. And not that I was gonna open up an account, but I was like, I'm not gonna use this guy's code. You know what?
I think I remember you saying that to me. I remember being like, "Why not?" Like, I don't know.
So like, there was really no reason for me to like just bandwagon like hate this guy, because like, dude, the guy's successful in his own right. He's got he's got his own trading strategy, and he's pulling in some good money from props, and he's got an affiliate program. So what? I mean, we got affiliate programs technically,
Yeah.
and maybe we'll have ad revenue, but like, I'm, yeah, hey, everybody's gonna have a side hustle sometimes. And for him, he started out on YouTube, kind of like, I'm gonna learn how to trade and I'm gonna make it. And then I saw some of his past videos where he's just talking about his trading journey and stuff,
Mm-hmm.
and that's super cool.
Mm-hmm.
And there can be plenty of people that get their foot in the door uh, in social media, and because it's like their day in the life of whatever they're doing, whether it's like the minivan life, or trading and stuff, and then they eventually find the success in the thing that they're documenting,
Mm-hmm.
but like, no reason to hate on the fact that they made a little money on the side from promoting some ads, right?
No, yeah, for sure. There's no reason at all to hate it, dude. Like, um, and I think the number one thing is people are going to hate on it because it's not them, right? Because it's a jealousy thing, right? Like, if you stepped into his shoes and you were like, okay, last year I made whatever 4 million in affiliate, another million in prop trading payouts, essentially, right? I'm rounding, but if I made
Yeah.
$5 million and that doesn't include YouTube revenue, and I got a boat and I got a Lambo and I got a G-Wagon and I got all this stuff, and it's just like, well, what's there to hate about that, right? Like, I mean, the guy's
Mhm.
just doing his thing, right? Like, I guess you mean to tell me that if you not if you could do it, right, but if you were doing it, because people would be like, oh, I could do it if I wanted to. Okay, well, okay, I mean,
First of all, no, not really.
yeah, but like, if you were doing it, like, you would,
Mhm.
like, what's the problem with it, right? And so I don't know. It's a bizarre thing, and I think people were like, well, it's because the majority of his money didn't come from trading, and it's like, okay, so okay,
And
whatever.
I've seen actual channels that do heavily promote affiliates, but they're heavily pushing the whole, hey, get the 20 accounts or get the 10 accounts,
Yeah,
or if you buy 10 accounts with my code or 20 accounts with my code, then I'll let you access my Discord. You know what I mean?
right.
So it's like, these guys, they're pushing videos that are like how to pass these accounts, but they don't actually teach any repeatable strategy or setup. They're just showing you how to game the system, and those are the kind of guys that are worthy of you unfollowing, or not paying a second chance to. But like, PW, dude, seems cool to me.
Yeah, yeah. I mean, it's fine. I mean, because a lot of, like, his live trading is on YouTube, right? So it's essentially
Hmm.
free.
Yeah.
You know, I mean, he's making ad revenue off of you or whatever, but like you're actually able to see the trades he's taking. And he actually recently put out a video about the 15-minute orb strat. And, you know, because we did our 30-minute orb strat video, right? So he did a 15-minute one. And essentially,
Hmm.
I was just peeking it earlier. He essentially, you put the range on, and then
Yeah.
it's a breakout strategy. So if you break the high, you put the
Hmm.
stop. The stop goes at the middle of whatever that orb is, and then the target is like target 1 and target 2. I think is essentially like, I think it's 1-to-1. So I think like target
Okay.
1 is the orb 50% range. So if the orb is
Hmm.
100 points on NQ, your stop is 50, target 1 is 50, and then you know he was just backtesting every day in March, like where it worked, and just talking through it, and like I don't know. I'm a big fan of like that type of content because it's like you're actually seeing somebody backtest a strategy and seeing how often it works. And he was like
Hmm.
literally, I think he was using TradingView, so it was nice because he could, you know, go all the way back to Friday morning. Okay, here's the 15-minute orb, draw the levels out, and then click like bar by bar, right? It was just popping up, and then he's like, okay,
Yeah.
we broke out the high, so we would have entered here. Stop goes here. Do we get stopped? And then like, you know, it was just cool to watch it all play out.
Yeah, I'll have to check that out because I did see that pop up in the feed too, and I know that you've been talking about maybe looking into the 15-minute orb yourself recently too. Because
Yeah,
it for some reason a lot of social media people seem to be on board with the 15-minute versus the 30.
yeah, all of a sudden. And like when I got into trading, I didn't know anything about the orb the first year, but then like once I joined the House of Stacks, you know, that was a common thing that we learned, you know, or I would say I learned, and that was, you know, early 2022. So
Yeah.
I've had the, you know, like if even if I just go back to showing my charts, right? Like, you know, by default, you know, and I have other indicators on here too, and I'm playing with my EMAs and stuff, but like by default, this is a 30-minute orb, right? It's like automatically going to plot out every single
Mhm.
day. And then I have also been marking the London orb, and this is meta, so this is not as relevant, right? But if we go to like NQ, you know, typically, um, oh, it's gone, isn't it? Yeah, because it's a new day. But you know, it'll mark out the London orb. So I'll have the London orb range, and I'm looking at what that is too, because you know sometimes you get like good double confluence, and in a situation like
Yeah.
Friday, like here, sorry,
Hey,
uh,
excuse you.
here's the London orb low right here. Like you have this like wick out, comes back down, and it finally breaks and gets under it. Like it's, you know, like how many times the London orb got tested and then it finally failed. And so I'm
Yeah.
always looking at
Right.
that in the terms of a 30-minute what, but we probably need to do an episode on that too, man. Just like do 15 minutes and see. And
Hmm.
here's essentially how he would have played it if we go down to the 5-minute. This is what he was backtesting, right? So I'll hide some of these EMAs. And actually, we don't need all this. I can clear this off now.
Hmm.
This is essentially what he was saying, right? So here's your 15-minute orb. Your 15-minute orb is going to be from here to here. Like your first 15, well, I guess the 30-minute orb essentially ended up being the 15-minute on this day, right? So
Yeah.
I don't need to draw that.
That's the one thing I've noticed because I did try checking it out myself recently, and it's like some of these days it's been like, oh, well, they're the same,
Yeah.
or it's like price is so extended anyway. It's like it almost didn't even matter. But if you're talking about like a breakout strategy, then that can make sense.
Yeah. And so basically what he was saying to do is, and this was a news candle. So maybe you wait for this news candle to close, right? And you do what you want to do. But you
Hmm.
essentially, once you move down here out of the orb, so like anywhere in here, um, you're going to get short. And
Yeah.
we'll call it, you know, 836-ish entry.
Hmm.
And your stop now goes here, right? And so, you know, like you have to size appropriately. He kept saying that. Like in the video, he kept saying, you have to size appropriately. You have to be very aware of your sizing, right? Like this is a big stop, so you have to be aware of your sizing. You can't go full size. Like
Yeah.
he must have said it a half dozen times. And like, I mean, Yuchaverse is just like compare it to like any other person or Furu you see online who's like, you know, let's go back to the fruit man. He never talks about a stop, right? You'll frequently see him
Yeah.
post positions that are down 60, 80% on an options trade. Like that's
Right.
that's not feasible, but in this case, like he's walking you through back testing with and this is a great example for how a lot of traders should run their own back testing
Hmm.
with a defined stop every single time. It's okay, here's the entry, here's the stop. So
Yeah.
and then target 1 essentially would be But if we drew from the mid orb to here, if I remember correctly, and I didn't go back and actually plot them all exactly, but I'm pretty sure target 1 would be the same thing, like half the distance of the range. So like you have target 1, then you have target 2. I could be wrong. It might be the whole orb range is target 1. Whatever though. So, and maybe that's what it is. Maybe that is target 1. Because I watched on my phone, so I wasn't looking exactly at the numbers, but I was listening to what he was saying. So, but even if you did that, if you were like, okay, well, here's the orb low, right? So here's the orb low, here's the orb high. So you entered in there, boom, that's target 1, hit, right? Hit pretty quickly, move stop to break even.
Yeah.
Here's target 2. If you still got another one, right? If you got another con, you take another one off, move stop maybe to target 1, right? So if you had, let's just say you had 3 cons, maybe micros. This really should be played with micros with that big of a stop, right? So maybe you had 5 micros. 5 micros, you took 2 off here, you took a third off here, now you got 2 left. Where are you going to take your 2 off? You can take them off here. You'd be smart, right? Like, he was, just kind of talking through that, because some examples really pull back, but damn, dude. Look at this. It'd be target 3. That would suck. That would kind of suck to see it, like, almost come all the way down to target 3 and then, like, pull back to where target 2 is, but then,
real.
But then look at this shit, dude. Like,
yeah, and
target 4.
It's exponentially more important that he's preaching about your sizing, because if it was options or commons, then like it's different, but like the price coming back to you that far in the futures is just insane. So yeah, that's cool that he's talking about size and everything.
Right, because I mean, what realistically, like, even with a micro, this pullback from the low point here to the apex up here, it's a 76 point pullback. Like, that's $150 on one micro.
Yeah.
And realistically, though, if you had gotten in short here at the orb low, which we could go back and just quickly look at that. I talked a lot about that on that Friday session I did. But this area entry was still very, very strong when you look at like the 1 minute and the 2 minute. If you had gotten in there, you still had fantastic risk reward. Where is that? Look at the news candle, and that news candle fails to even come up and close over either EMA. So you were fine, and that was everything you needed to know. That, hey, when they couldn't move higher and sustain, like, the next candle can't move higher, showing weakness, dude. Like, if this was like, prime, absolutely prime, screaming at you, take the short. It fails. Even if you didn't take it, you take the half. This is a perfect thing too. You draw a fib on the body of this candle, you get in right at the 50% point. It's a great entry.
Yeah, because just like we've talked about before too, if we just drew like a supply and demand within the orb on like a different, like the 5-minute time frame, for instance, and coincidentally though, that pre-market London orb demand zone that we were talking about before pretty much was the bottom of that orb there before it broke down. So like, whether you had drawn that zone from over there, or just simply drew it from like the 5-minute wicks once we were in real time hours, and then you started seeing on smaller time frames like the 2 minute or the 1 minute, we were starting to close inside and under that zone. You could have traded that as well without having to have the risk as high as he's maybe suggesting.
Yeah, absolutely. And that arrow, was the entry I just called out. On the 1 minute chart, right, where it pulls back into the EMAs. That's like your ultra prime. Because let me zoom like really close in on that. Is if you entered in here between the 1 minute EMAs, which a lot of people use the 2 or other time frames, but this is great for like those really fantastic tight risk entries. This is 879 up here. It's a 20 point risk. From this point, not the top of the wick, mid wick where it's feasible. Even if you and if you waited for that candle to close and come down, and you entered in here, 47 risking the prior candle's high is 20 points, right? Like, on micros,
very doable micros.
Yeah, so 20 points is per mini is $400 on 5 micros. On 5 micros, it's $200. So if you're utilizing maybe that 15-minute orb strategy, right? Like, you get in here risking $100, we're risking 20 points. Like, from this candle's high, what's this? What's this in 4 minutes? 95 points.
Yeah.
Dude.
By then you're jumping for joy, baby.
Yeah, and you did, and I can see how some people would do the right thing and just scale under this low break, right? That's fine, totally understand why you would do that. You de-risk some. So again, if you got in down here on the green candles wick, you're in here at 45, let's say, you just locked in your first scale at 30 points profit, so $60 for 1 micro. And if you took 5 micros and you were like, oh, I'm going to trim them off one at a time, that's what you want to do, or that your experience is. Okay, you just locked in 60. You got to break even. You don't even come close to break even forever. Like we haven't been there yet. Look, it just goes down.
Right. Yeah.
Yeah. What a bummer. Oh, dude. I swear, dude, I was in that meeting and I just kept peeking my phone, and I was just like, you just know when you just like, this is the one.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I would encourage anybody though. Like I gave like a really, really in-depth breakdown of like all the price action on Friday. Like you definitely worth watching. So we'll link that in the description if you even watch.
Yeah, absolutely.
So
yeah, shout out to the guys who are still watching. We're thinking about doing some live episodes in the future.
Yeah,
and we also want to have some guests. And we're thinking we want to ask Maple Stacks to be our first guest. But just from a live, like a logistics perspective, we're thinking we want to maybe do a live episode or so prior to that, just to maybe work out any potential kinks that there might be in our recording setup or whatever. That might be different versus just our pre-recorded operations. So,
oh yeah,
if you guys are interested in the live, let us know, because we'll probably premiere that, but we would look to have some interactions with people and take some live questions and stuff, which would be pretty sweet.
Oh yeah, that would be a lot of fun. It'd be a lot of fun. We got to get some other guests on too. Like obviously said Maple, but like actual traders too from the House of Stacks that have been doing pretty well, that have like unique systems. Yeah,
that'd be sweet.
Yeah. All right. Well, 52 minutes in, bro. I think we wrap it up.
Yeah, sounds good. We pretty much covered all we've got to talk about. So yeah, we'll see y'all in the next one.
Oh yeah. Thanks for watching, guys. See you later.
Later.